I've had my fair share of reckless calisthenics injuries and slow progress over the years. Wisdom is avoiding other people's mistakes so you don't have to suffer. What calisthenics injuries have you experienced and what lessons have you learned? Let's have a chat in the comments. I'm going to start with a massively important injury prevention method, rep speed during calisthenics. A big calisthenics mistake contributing to injury risk is uncontrolled explosive training. Don't get me wrong, ballistic or fast reps have their place under certain contexts. Let's say you're going for a maximum attempt. It's safe to say you're going to be moving explosively to display your full potential. However, in the interest of sustainable progress and long-term injury prevention, this is not a wise method for day-to-day training. Fast reps, especially when combined with a sloppy negative, are highly stressful to the working tendons. An easy way to understand the function of tendons is they act like load-bearing springs, storing and then releasing energy to allow a fast concentric phase. But we have to use a sustainable technique in the interest of reaching our genetic potential long term. The wise approach is to use a controlled eccentric, a controlled negative tempo. We're now using our muscles as brakes on the way down. This has multiple benefits. Firstly, get ready to enjoy increased hypertrophy when the working muscles are now dominating every single negative. By contrasting this technique compared to earlier, it becomes obvious why injury is less likely. Many people get distracted by focusing purely on performance, how many reps they're doing. What needs to get more attention is rep quality, what standards are being used. Slower eccentrics also put less unnecessary strain on the local elbow and shoulder joints, tissues and tendons. Of significance to the calisthenics athlete is tempo management seriously reduces tendon stress. Put simply, strength gain occurs much faster compared to the tendon regeneration and degeneration process. Getting stronger can happen in a matter of weeks. Tendon changes occur over the span of months. Can you now understand and appreciate why overuse injuries such as golfer's elbow, aka tendinopathy, are very common in calisthenics? We have a scenario of ambitious, hard-working trainees who don't understand the time-course mismatch of strength and tendon recovery. Our nervous system is improving, our muscles are getting bigger, but the tendon regeneration lags behind. It doesn't matter how tough we are mentally or how passionately we want to improve, we must respect and be patient with the adaptive process of the body or suffer the consequences. Control the negative into the transition phase, then drive concentrically with maximum intent. Think slow on the way down, fast on the way up for sustainable strength, size, and calisthenics gains. Use sustainable forms so you can continue to train for life. Let's lead by example for future generations. Intelligent exercise variation is a guaranteed way to remain healthy, get stronger, and minimize injury risk from calisthenics. We all share a passion for training. Each of us are on our own personal path of improvement and making progress. You're going to have goals which require dedicated focus through practicing a movement over and over again. It can get monotonous, tedious, and boring, but that's a reality of getting better. Drilling the desired movement pattern consistently and aiming for long-term growth is a must. Those who remain patient through repetition and discipline are rewarded with gains. However, there is going to come a time where plateaus happen. No matter what is attempted, it can feel impossible to improve. This principle of diminishing returns is an unfortunate reality, especially for those who have been training for longer. Simply continuing the same exercise without changing leads to stagnation, frustration, psychological burnout, or increased injury risk. The most intelligent plateau buster is switching things up strategically. Exercise variation should be considered at the end of a mesocycle, every 6 to 12 weeks for most people. In this case, horizontal pushing is still the priority. One push-up variation has simply been substituted for another. The beauty of this is an opportunity to vary the stimulus and undergo another cycle of progressive overload. Yes, experiencing session to session or week to week improvements is going to happen once again. If the gross movement pattern is relatively comparable, don't worry about losing previous gains. If anything, the novelty of variation is going to address potential weak links, be it asymmetry or stability. Getting the absolute maximum from our body requires long-term, not short-term thinking. Remember, it's bad to never change exercises, and it's also bad to change things constantly. Be calculated and be deliberate. Have faith knowing once you return to whatever exercise you placed aside, it won't take long before you're breaking previous plateaus and exceeding your limits. Injury risk is seriously reduced when training progressively, not aggressively. We all know in order to get bigger and stronger, we need to make training harder over time. More sets, more reps, and increased intensity through progression or added weight. Where most people slip up is related to the magnitude of progressive overload. Huge increases in training volume or intensity is just asking for problems. The risk of an acute injury is higher due to the increased chance the body can't handle what's being asked. Muscle strains generally happen when training ambitiously relative to previous efforts. Overuse injuries such as tendinopathies are more likely with chronically large steps in overload. More importantly, big jumps session to session are not sustainable in the long term. You're smart enough to know the body can only adapt so much and so fast. It needs time and can't be forced. Those who fall into the trap of aggressively overloading tend to compare themselves to other people. Daily training is a battle against yourself. Sustainable incremental increases in difficulty is the only way to promote longevity physically and mentally. Last but not least, avoid failure to stay healthy and make long-term gains. In the interest of improving size, strength, and skill with calisthenics, leaving a few reps in reserve is the way to go. The calisthenics consensus is failure, and training that stops shy of failure produce very comparable results when total work is similar. We're able to optimally stress the muscles and train the nervous system when leaving a few reps in the tank. Exercises which have an element of skill benefit even more from reps in reserve training. When incorporating balance and strength, it's a highly demanding combination. This benefits from holding back a bit. In the interest of aesthetically sound technique, training short of failure is the way to go with compound calisthenics. We all know that strength is a skill too. We're a product of what we repeatedly do, so practicing with good technique is going to lead to good technique. The reps in reserve method manages our daily and weekly fatigue, allowing higher quality and more frequent training sessions. Those who frequently train calisthenics to failure, I can see the appeal and the emotion. It's strangely satisfying when you're pushing yourself to the absolute maximum. Hey, I'll be the first to admit when I'm going close to failure and training quite hard, I get some serious banana back action and it doesn't look that pretty. Also, it's easier in the sense of eliminating any planning and critical thinking. You just have to train as hard as possible and then chill. Working at such a high intensity and under fatigue is not something which can or should be done all the time. Acute muscle injuries or chronic consequences are much more likely when failing. But in line with the overall theme of today's video, we're not focused on just one hard workout or one set to failure. Leaving a rep or two in reserve is still a highly challenging calisthenics method, especially for multiple sets. You're able to get an optimally effective training session, manage fatigue, and drastically reduce chance of injury. Alright legends, fitnessfaqs.com for the best calisthenics programs. Check us out on YouTube for more tutorials and workouts. Otherwise, see you in the next video.